let's begin our session. We're going to begin by reviewing the work we had done on Saturday last week. So for any of you that had attended or went through the material and learned a thing or two, you can share with us what you learned. You can unmute and also use the chat box. Also, to give a brief view, it was on describing cloud computing, cloud concepts. So describing cloud concepts, what is the cloud and what are the components of the cloud. So that's a short brief. If you have anything to add on that, you can unmute and share. Even what you've just learned basically on the cloud during the last week or even this week. Okay, I think we are okay. So we're going to go through describing Azure architecture and services, which is the second week's work. Yeah. So it basically was describing the architecture in Azure, security, management services, yeah, and all that. So we're going to begin with the infrastructure and how they can be broken down into two. Okay. So there was physical infrastructure and management infrastructure. Yes, I think it's now presenting well. So for physical infrastructure, it means the physical, like you can see it, you can touch it, you can go and visit that place. Yeah. In physical, we have data centers, and in management, we have now the components in Azure that help us to manage our cloud services. So for physical, we have the data centers. So in data centers, they are like facilities where the resources to manage the cloud are located. Let's say maybe we have the servers, we have the maybe the power and cooling systems to manage the servers. You know, when they are running, the servers are running, they usually emit a lot of heat because of the activities going on. So they usually put up the structures to manage that. Yeah, so even Azure has those data centers. And in Africa, I only know of maybe South Africa where there is a data center over there. Yes, I don't know if there's any data centers around. You can say if it's maybe in your country or if you've ever visited a data center apart from Microsoft's data center. And the link that is there, I'm going to use it to open a view of the data centers of Microsoft that are located around the globe. Yes, it's the site that is created just to see the centers around. Okay, so this is the view of the link that is there. This is just to see the various data centers in Azure or for Microsoft for Azure. You can see North Central US is there. And for Africa, over here, yes, Africa. There is one in South Africa, as you can see here. Yeah, and many other areas around the continent. Okay, so let's continue with the slides.
Question.
Okay,
Yeah. What do the different color codes mean?
or the different
And
color codes in.
yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Then, um, I think it's to show when I hover the mouse over the areas, you can see the orange. I think it's orange or yellow. I'm not sure. Yes, it's like a solar energy something there facility. Yeah, the yellow ones are representing the solar systems. Also, for there are others with wind farms. So I think the they represent if there's a solar energy management in that area, they will represent it. And also for the wind energy facilities, they also represent them. Yeah.
Okay, so does that mean in Africa it's not only one? It's not only the one in South Africa, because I can see the others distributed in West Africa. There's one in Central. There's also
Oh,
one in the east side.
well, okay. So when we go to create a resource in Azure, when I will demonstrate it, we'll see the facility that you can host your cloud service in. And for Africa, I only saw South Africa North. So, okay, if anyone can confirm if you have ever used Azure. Yeah, but that is the only facility I've seen when researching. Yeah, I think, okay, have I answered your question well, or I have left some loopholes?
Uh so when we are choosing the availability zone, when we are trying to create a resource, you're saying
Yes.
we will only get South Africa as one of the listed countries in Africa.
Yes.
Okay, I guess you've answered, but I just wanted to know if the
Mhm.
different color codes, the ones in blue, white, there's also a red over there. I can't see it well. If they also represent data centers or represent something else, and maybe why are the other countries or other regions in Africa not listed among the availability zones?
Oh, okay. So for the color code, I only hovered around and saw the yellow ones representing maybe their solar energy facilities in the same data centers. Others have wind farms. So I'm not really sure if they represent something different, but I think they only represent the different facilities in the same data centers. Like maybe for a data center, you can have some having solar energy systems put there. Others have wind energy systems there to like replace maybe the electrical energy facilities they have. For Africa, yes, it's only one. And okay, but for creating resources, it doesn't really mean that if you live in Africa, you have to put your data center or your resource in Africa. You can put them in other regions. Yes, but for Africa, we only have one in South Africa.
So okay. I think you've answered my question. But so we can't assume, even for instance, the one in around Central Africa, There's a white
Okay.
representation over there around
Oh,
Central Africa next to your cursor. So we can't assume that is a data center.
oh yes. Yes.
Okay, so
Okay.
guess we can only work with South Africa. So that means what that color is next to the pink,
Or the blue one.
the blue one, the light blue one next to pink. So we can only say that's the only representation of a data center. Maybe if we could assume.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Mm. Okay.
Maybe
Anyone
Lillian.
has a
Hey,
oh
hi
yes,
Lillian.
Derek. Hello.
Maybe to answer, maybe you could check the legend so that you can see what the different color codes are for the different items on the map.
Oh, okay. Oh yes. Yes, they are representations of what the color codes mean. Yeah, thank you, Derek, for the pointer. So yes, the blue ones represent the network POP. Okay. Then there are ground stations which are purple. Then the ones I was talking about, I think orange or yellow, I'm not sure. So there are wind and solar systems or projects inside the data centers. Mixed, I think it has a combination of them. So yes. And then the one we were seeing in white was just geographies. Oh, yes, I think the white one was representing, maybe let's say, I don't know, if you don't know, maybe the continent or something. When you hover that, it shows you like Africa. You see, this one shows like Brazil. It shows the specific geography that is. But the other ones represent maybe the facilities there. If there is a data center, it's blue. And then for the yellow orange represents now the sustainability projects there. If there is a solar wind energy system there. Okay. Yes, thank you for the pointer again, Derek. So is there any other question?
What did you say the deep blue one represent? The deep blue, not the other blue that represent edge zone. The deep blue.
Or the deep blue one, sorry, the deep blue one shows the network POP.
POP. POP. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can't see your screen.
Oh, I think there's an issue on your side because on my side it's reflecting. I'm not sure if it's the same for everyone. Are you guys seeing my screen?
Yep, we can.
Okay. So maybe you can check your network or add another device. Okay, let's continue with the presentation. Okay, so we went through the physical infrastructure, but now we have okay, wait, I don't know if it's glitchy. Okay. We have the management infrastructure. Wait a moment, I fix this issue. So I was saying we have physical infrastructure and management infrastructure. So management is all about now the services in Azure. So I'm going to send the link of the globe that we were seeing previously. So it is, you can check out the facilities, that the data centers that are around in the globe, the Azure system. So next we're going to go through management infrastructure. So we'll get to know the 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 services in Azure that can help us to maybe develop our cloud system, yeah, or manage it. Okay. So, okay, can you see my slides on your side? Right.
Yes.
What I think I'll do, I'll just share the Azure platform so that you can see the infrastructures, because maybe it's glitching around.
Is it possible for you to share the slides with us as well? So probably from your side, you
Oh,
could tell us you're on this other slide, in slide 18, slide again as well.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me share the slides and then we go through the Azure platform also.
And as just pointed out, you've given us control over your screen. Maybe if you could go to settings somewhere and manage the controls. I've seen it from the chat.
Oh, okay. Okay, I think it's okay now. So, yeah, so we are going through the geographical areas that Microsoft has for the data centers. So now we have the regions. When we are going to create resources in Azure, we are going to select regions where we want the resources to be located in. So regions, they are geographical areas that contain at least one but potentially multiple data centers nearby or networked together with a low latency network. So yes, basically, it's just to show regions are areas that maybe they contain the data centers that we are going to store our resources in. So you see, we are going to select a region where we want our resources deployed. So maybe if you want yours to be in Africa, you'll select South Africa now. Yes. So apart from the basic regions, we have now sovereign regions. These now are regions that are managed maybe by the government or for agencies that maybe they want control over their own data centers. Now here, Microsoft doesn't necessarily have to come through in managing the systems, because maybe the government wants to do their own private things aside without being managed by other maybe infrastructures. So examples of sovereign regions are like Azure China 21 ViaNet and Azure Germany 45. So they have their own data centers aside. Yes, they have Azure or something, but Microsoft doesn't manage the region. Yes, and then we have region pairs. Region pairs, this means we have maybe, let's say, one in South Africa North, a whole region for data centers, and then we have another one, maybe South Africa South. Yeah, that's just an example. So these two regions, they will be paired together. This is just in case maybe if South Africa North, they have a disaster coming. Okay, yeah, like a calamity, something, maybe the data center has been ambushed maybe by an attack. So what this does, it creates data redundancy and also backup. So South Africa North has an issue. South Africa South will come in to assist with this issue because maybe your resources are in North. So if there's an issue, the resources are also in South, so you won't lose your data. So yes, so there is bidirectional pairing in region pairs. So for bidirectional, it means that the primary region, which maybe it was South Africa North, will provide backup for the secondary region, which now is South Africa South. But for one directional, it does not provide backup. That you have maybe a backup in your primary region or something. So it just puts up that pairing connection only, but there is no backup. Yeah. Okay. Don't know if we should proceed or someone has a question regarding the content we've passed through so far.
I just need a clarification. So bi-directional, the primary region will provide backup for secondary region as well. Yeah. So
Yes.
one direction pairing, the primary region won't provide backup for the secondary region, but will the secondary region provide backup for the primary region? As in, will the secondary region act as a failover for the primary region
Yes.
by default?
It will,
Oh, okay.
yes, it will still act as a failover. So failover means that if this primary region doesn't work, the other region will be still working with the same resources that are there. So yes, I think I've answered the question well.
Yeah, it will provide backup for the primary region for one direction. But
Yes.
primary region won't reciprocate.
Yes, primary region doesn't have the backup now.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So let's continue. So availability zones. Availability zones, they now they physically separate data centers within an Azure region. So yes, they act like an isolation boundary. So if one zone goes down, others continue working. So basically, it's just about data redundancy and making sure our data is not lost, resources are not lost. So yes, and then in Azure, a minimum of 3 separate availability zones are present. Yes, in availability zone in enabled regions, because in some regions they don't have the the support. They don't support availability zones. So for those that support availability zones put in, a minimum of 3 are accepted. So yes, availability zones are connected through high-speed private fiber optic networks. So I don't know if I've explained clearly, but yes, availability zones, let's say they are like, they're not like region pairs, but they act, maybe let's say we have South Africa North and South, and maybe we can say another different place, maybe Brazil. So these regions are connected together. You can have that picture. So if they are connected together like that, if North and South go down, we have another one that is available in Brazil. So the resources and data won't be unavailable. So it's just to ensure that our resources are not lost in the cloud platform.
Um, Lillian, I
Yes.
from the explanation, even with your slides, I kind of had a bit of a different view of the availability zones, because I was thinking of it this way: availability zones are
Okay.
found within a region, within a a region. Like, for example, you've said one of the regions would be South Africa North, yeah. So it will be
Yes.
having a minimum of 3 availability zones now, which are separate data centers within South Africa North.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's how I understood it. Like, for instance, you get one region. What just a minute, let me go back. So we have one region. Yeah, let me just call them region. Yeah, we have one region like South Africa North. Then within South Africa North, we have a number of availability zones. So these availability zones will be the ones offering backups and all for themselves within the region, like not outside. From the slides, that's how I understood it, because they are saying they are set up to be an isolation boundary. If one zone goes down, the other continues working, but within the same region. So, for instance, one region can have like 4 availability zones. If one of the availability zone goes down within the same region, another one will back it up. It will be like a failover for the availability zone, but within the same region.
Oh, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yes, the example I gave for Brazil, it was a far example. Yes, so like in the same region, but they are different. They are different regions, but now they are connected together to ensure the data is not lost and acts as a failover. So maybe let's say for South Africa, we have different regions there, but now they are connected to act as failovers to maybe one region is not working, another one will come up and support the other one. So now, apart from physical infrastructure, we have management infrastructure. So in management infrastructure is where we're going to see how we can manage our cloud platform using Azure. So in this diagram, you can see we have an Azure account and then subscriptions, resource groups, and resources. So in Azure, you'll require an Azure account to access the cloud services. And you'll also need a subscription to access the services. Because most of the time, when you use a resource, you'll require to pay. So it's usually you'll pay when using a service. Yes, you won't be paying if you're not using a resource or service. You won't be paying. Yes, and we also have resource groups. Inside resource groups is where we have the resources. So basically, what that means is a resource group. When we come to create a resource group. Okay. Can we ensure that we are muted so that we don't collide? Okay, thank you. So for resource groups, when you go to create them, you'll see that maybe you are applying some certain actions. Maybe you want a certain management group, or you'll give a certain permission for some people to use the resources in one resource group. Maybe let's say if you have a company, you want maybe 2 employees to access the resources. So what you'll do, you'll create a resource group that allows maybe, let's say, Lucy and maybe Mark to access the resources. So that setting will only work for that specific resource group. And under the resource group, all the resources, maybe let's say you have a database, you have maybe an app service. Those actions will apply to all the resources under that resource group you've created. So I don't know if I've explained well. Is there anyone with a question? Okay, you can proceed. Okay, now let's go through I'll share my screen to show the services that Azure has in management services. Okay, so this is the Azure platform. Let me go to home. So you can see the various services that are there. So I have a resource group. I have a resource group, storage account, and these other ones that we're going to see in a few, and also subscriptions. Subscriptions is more of like if you are paying maybe for the platform, you have that subscription. If you are a student, we went through creating an account for students. You'll have another subscription there. Yes, but anytime you want to see your subscriptions, you can view and check out the way you are using the subscriptions. So for resource groups, we have one there. So it's going to show me all the resource groups that I have created before, and you can also create one here. Yes, and during the creation process, maybe let's see. So this one. So we have the subscription listed there. Visual Studio, Enterprise, yeah. So for resource group, we'll give it a name. Maybe let's say we call it. Anyone can suggest a name. Can suggest a name in the chat box or can shout it out. Any name, any suggestion. Or I can just go with someone's name over here. Let me use Anthony as an example.
Yeah, you had to.
Oh, okay. So for region, we have now the areas that are there, the ones I was talking about. We have East US and all that. And maybe, yeah, all of these ones are there. Let me type in Africa. We'll see the ones that are there. You can see it's only South Africa North. That's the only one that is in Africa. So we go to next. Tags you can put if you want, but it's not required. So you see validation passed. So it's nice. You can continue to create. So you can go to create. So our resource group is where we're going to put all our resources, any accounts you want, maybe a storage account. You want to create a storage account, you'll put it there. So now we have our resource group called Anthony. Yes, and you can see when you click on it, you have now create. Now we can now create these other services you want, and so it's going to load a bit. Okay, I went to marketplace. Okay, so that's it for resource groups. When you scroll a bit, you'll see all the access, even access controls where I was talking about. You'll have maybe 2 people. What can they do in this resource? Can they create? Can they edit or view? Yes. Okay, I think that's it for the demonstration. Or if you want to, anyone who has maybe another suggestion, maybe what we can do in the resource group.
I was wondering, does a resource group have a limited number of resources it could hold, or it's unlimited?
Oh, it's unlimited. I haven't seen any restrictions, but now it will depend with the way you are using your resources. If you use resources that exceed your subscription,
Yeah.
it will now limit you.
Oh, okay. And the subscriptions, you're the one to define them. Like you'll say you shouldn't use more than this number of storage. Like, is there a place where you can do that? You can limit your resource
Or,
group so that you
or
can
where
get an alert. It's possible because I can see under monitoring there's alerts.
yes, there is
Oh,
a
okay.
lot there. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So you can add you can define your alerts and see there's create there. It can work.
Yeah.
So for me, I've entered the resource group that I once created. It's called Cognitive Services, maybe where I wanted to create maybe cognitive services like maybe speech recognition, image identification, something like that. So I have all the resources that I kept there. I have an AI service there. I have a metric alert rule. I have a storage account. So that's how a resource group works. Yes, that's it for resource groups. I think we can continue. Okay, now we are under compute and networking services in Azure. So for computing services that are in Azure, we have Azure Virtual Machines, App Service, Azure Container Instance, Azure Kubernetes Services, Windows Virtual Desktop. So these are all services that can help us in our cloud. Like maybe if you want to have a virtual machine, what can you do there? Maybe if you have an app service. So I'll go through the explanations of each of them. So for virtual machines, they virtualize the hardware. Like if you want maybe to, I think some of you maybe have a virtual machine. Maybe it's running Linux or it's going through Windows. So yes, the virtual machines are used mainly to, if you want to have a separate operating system that does other work. Maybe you are a cybersecurity analyst, you can use a virtual machine while also having your own computer, your local machine doing other things. Maybe if you are a developer, you can develop there. And for a virtual machine, you have your cybersecurity analysis going on. And then we have containers. So I was just in that first line, I was just showing the difference between a virtual machine and a container. So containers are lightweight and they virtualize the software. So during during going through the material, they were saying that the virtual machine, they just virtualize the hardware, but containers, they virtualize the software, meaning that for virtual machines, you only require one operating system going and running, but for containers, they classify them like you can have different operating systems, but they are working under one container. So that was the difference that was highlighted in virtual machines and containers. So for containerization, Azure supports Docker, which is a popular container engine. Yes, and okay, for app service, where you can host your apps without using virtual machines. Yes, maybe if you're an application developer, you want to check out how your app is doing, how you are creating your applications, you can use app service to go through all that instead of maybe going to the virtual machine and then installing the app. Yeah, you can use app service to manage your apps. And then you have Kubernetes, which manages and runs the containerized applications. So maybe you have different containers in the cloud platform. Kubernetes comes through to manage the containers that you have. And then finally, we have the virtual desktops, which it creates a full desktop virtualization, and then it saves on costs and can work for organizations. What I meant by can work for organizations is that maybe the organization is using a certain, let me say, application again, a certain application to or network to run their services. So instead of installing the the services or the application in each and every desktop that they have in the organization, they can use Azure Virtual Desktop or Windows Virtual Desktop to install the services and the apps in one place so they can access all of them at once. Instead of installing in each and every device, you can just access it through the cloud in Azure using the Windows Virtual Desktop. So it's a very good feature for organizations out there. Okay, so I don't know if anyone has a question, you can say it out, or maybe if you read the material and went through other content that I've not spoken about in computing services, you can share.
I just have a question, and maybe if anyone even from the audience could be able to answer. So I was wondering, for virtual machines, let's say I have my own PC, which has something like 8 GB RAM and operating on Core i5 maybe, and I have a storage of around maybe 250 GB. But I need a virtual machine in to install a virtual machine in my PC, or to provision it in Azure with maybe 64 vCPUs, maybe 32 GB RAM, and 2 TB temporary storage. Is it possible, or must it match the capacity of my machine? Like, is there a relation to that, the actual machine that I have, but with what I want to provision? Is there any requirement that I'm supposed to meet with the on-prem machine that I have? Maybe, yeah. I guess someone has an answer. Benson.
Oh, okay. Okay, Benson, you can tell us.
Oh, hi guys. I hope you can hear me. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
All right. So for the Azure virtual machines, there is no, you do not have to. Okay, how would I put it? Like, it's not a must that if you're using Windows, you use Windows on your virtual machine. They are totally different, because what Azure is doing, it's to give you that platform where you can create any resource. So when you're creating a virtual machine, you get to select whichever operating system you want to use. There is Ubuntu, there is Windows, so it's not a must that they are totally compatible, because it's the platform that you're provided with and you can do anything with it. So you create a virtual machine, you install whichever operating system you want. Also for the storage and RAM, you're the one who chooses which ones you want to use. Even for the web browser engine, you could use Nginx. So you are responsible for configuring everything on that virtual machine. I hope your question is answered.
Yes. But if probably you could confirm. I know. Let's say I'm running on Core i5 and I want like 64 vCPUs. Yeah, 64 vCPUs is really fast, but maybe my Core i5 isn't meeting the requirements of the speed that I want. Will it operate the same way? I've provisioned it in Azure. Will it operate the same way V64 vCPU's machine would operate?
I think maybe that one you can confirm, but I was thinking, since you get to configure everything on the virtual machine,
Yes.
you could give it all computing power you wish, and it would ideally work the same way. That was my
Sure.
idea.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah. But okay, yeah. I guess we'll have to confirm. But thank you. Thank you. It has answered my question.
Okay. Does anyone have something to add on that, or have another question? Okay, you can proceed. Oh, okay. Grace, you can tell us what you have.
No, I have a question. Now that my Microsoft Azure account is not working, can I use someone's account?
Okay. Yes, I think you can use someone's account if you have their permission and maybe the login details.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Ridge, you can add on.
Okay, Lillian, I think there is some feedback we are still waiting for from SA coordinator help. So maybe in the meantime, as we wait for that, Microsoft Learn also provides a sandbox where you can use the Azure portal for free. So I think in the learning path, I think there's somewhere when you are going to create some resources, they give you a sandbox where you can ideally practice some of these things. I don't know whether any of us has tried checking that out, but last time I checked, the sandbox still worked equally.
Yes, yes. In the past, it is still working. So when we are going through our study materials in Microsoft Learn, you'll see them showing you, giving you a space to maybe do the things that you're supposed to do in the Azure platform. But now it's like a free subscription they give. You don't need any subscriptions or to pay for anything. So it's like a free account you're given during the training and studying of the material. Yes, but you can also, maybe if you know someone, you can tell them, okay, can I have maybe the login details and to know the resources that you're going to use. That needs a little bit of convincing and discussion between the two parties. Yes, but you can also go through Microsoft Learn. The path that we are going through, this part 2 actually has a virtualization where you can just access the Azure platform without paying. Okay, I don't know if we've answered Grace's question. Well,
Yeah, thank you.
okay, so we can continue. So we have Azure Networking Services. So under it, we have Azure Virtual Network, we have a VPN, and we have Azure Express Route. So for the Azure Virtual Network, it allows Azure resources to communicate with each other. So yes, it's like the internet and on-premise networks. It works by allowing the resources maybe that we've created in Azure to communicate with each other. So it provides a network between the resources so that maybe if you have like a resource having specific things that you require for it to share to another network, another resource, a network is created where they can now communicate. And then we have a VPN. A VPN sends encrypted traffic between the Azure virtual network and on-premises location. So in short, like a VPN works to secure the between the virtual network and maybe the on-premise location. Like basically the way a VPN works. A VPN hides the MAC address when you have it on. So it provides that security in a network traffic. And then we have Azure Express Route, which extends on-premises networks into Azure over a private connection facilitated by a connectivity provider. So yes, it is like for Azure Express Route, it has that private network connectivity, and it's facilitated by a connectivity provider. So don't know if we've exhausted it all, but if you went through the path and materials, you can add something maybe you learned while going through it, or maybe if you have a question, you can also add to the conversation. Okay, so for part two, it was it had a lot of content and it was wide. So there were also some tutorials there for even for computing when creating a resource group. Yeah, there were like practicals in the study material. So I think this is what I captured from networking services in Azure. So you can also go through the same. Yeah, but that was basically the summary of the networking services we have in Azure. Okay, now we go to the storage services. So for storage services, this is just a summary of what's there in Azure. When you want to store maybe files, when you want to store maybe a database, a table, yeah, and virtual machines, they are all there. So we have Azure Blob Storage. Blob storage is for unstructured data. Unstructured data means data that is not does not have a specific format, maybe like a table, a database, just data like that. An example is an image. Yeah, an image doesn't have a structured data, so we can put it under blob storage. And also we have file storage. Now, file storage is different from blob because it has the file sharing capabilities where you can now share the files that you upload on the maybe storage account. And then we have Azure Queue Storage. Queue Storage, I think it was for databases. So yes. And then we have the table storage where you can store the tables there that you create. Maybe it's a table having details of employees, or a table having details on a school. And then we have Azure Disk Storage, which is about virtual machines, where you now put up the virtual machines you have in the cloud. Yeah, that is all about storage services. So I was going through the services we have. I can share my screen so that you can see it practically in the platform. And as we do that, you can ask any question or add on to what I have, because this is what I have so far for storage services.
I have a question.
Okay.
What is the meaning of REST API?
Okay. So REST API is now okay. You see, an API is like it's in full its application programming interface. It's basically like let me say a tool or a service that you see when you create a website, you'll require an API maybe that has information or details. Like for me, I've seen when people create a website, they have, let's say, details for a certain region. You can't put, when creating a website, you can't put all the information maybe of a country there. So an API comes through to put in the data in a website. Let's say that one for countries, you have maybe like 100 plus countries. You can't type them there physically. So an API comes through like that. So for REST API, it's like it's how devices communicate with each other. I don't know if I'm explaining well, but yeah, someone can also add to the conversation, because I usually know that that's how an API works. Like it enables communication with computers. Okay, does anyone have anything to add to maybe what is REST API and what are APIs all about?
Basically, I would try to explain to him in a simple term. For REST API, it's different from the other APIs. I've assumed you already know APIs. So for REST APIs, it's just like a set of protocols, maybe a set of rules that govern how the softwares that have been provisioned will work. We will be communicating together over the internet. I think that's the simplest way I could explain it. It's like protocols.
Okay. I've seen a thumbs up, so I think it's okay now. Okay. So I was to share the screen. So as I'm sharing the screen, you can also maybe ask a question and contribute. So we were learning we were going through the storage services that are there in Azure. So for storage account is just an account where now you can now store the various storage services that are there. Like if you have a blob storage you want, if you have a Azure file storage you want to have, maybe a table storage, they all come through in the storage accounts. So maybe you can create a new one, or if you have others already there, it can work for you. So let me maybe create. Okay. I think it's fine now. So you can see already automatically I have the resource group there, the one we had created that's called Anthony. But I can change it. I can put the other resource groups I have to maybe replace that one. But maybe if I want the resource group to remain the same, it can be like that. So storage account name, you can suggest one maybe. Let me use someone's name here. Okay. Let me use. So under here you can see the. Oh, okay. Okay. You can put it. You can give it a special name. Maybe. Let me say. Yeah. There's someone who had suggested glacier, so I'm going to add that on top. So you have the storage name, the region, and now performance, standard or premium. Now this one is just performance. How do you want it to work? So for premium, they have more features and more capabilities. And for standard, now it's just if you want to just have a simple storage account, you can choose that. So for me, I'll choose standard. And then we have redundancy. We have the different levels there. So locally redundant storage, and then geo-redundant and zone, and then geo-zone redundant storage. So I think that was also in the path that we are going through the material. So I don't know if someone has something to add concerning the content on redundancy. So okay. So as we're creating, you'll see the different levels there. So we go to advanced. So advanced, we have things that are already checked there. So it's usually you go through it defaultly. You don't have to maybe uncheck, check. But if you have specific things you want to put in, that's where you can now change. So okay, we have this blob storage, and then access tiles. Yes, that one. So we have hot, cold, and there was also hybrid, I think. But now for hot, it's about the storage that you're going to access frequently. Maybe you have files that you're going to be accessing maybe each time, like you require it frequently. But now for cool, it's just where you upload some files that you are not going to be using a lot of the time. So it's just usually for backup, but for hot access tiers, they usually are for files that you're going to be accessing most of the time. So you can choose that under this. And then you go to next for networking. Networking, just put it the way you want it to be. So you can see like you have public access from selected virtual networks. You have public access and use private access. Yeah. You just go to next again. Data protection. You have enable soft delete for blobs. This one means that once you delete a file or maybe yes a file under the storage account, it will put it, let's say, in like a directory. You see the way in gallery you delete images and then it goes to deleted images. That is soft delete. Like it doesn't delete it immediately you delete. So once you delete it goes to another location, so that in case it was a mistake or you want to retrieve it, you can do so. Then you go to encryption. Encryption, this one you can leave it as default, the way it is. Yeah. And then tags. Tags is all about maybe if you have a storage account that's for education, you can write it there. So I don't have any tags, so we'll go to review. So review, you'll just see the things you've selected there. And now, yeah, it's done. So we're going to wait for, yeah, it has verified. So we create. So it initializes a deployment to ensure everything is set and working. So our account is now created, our storage account, and still in progress. So yeah, once we create this, you'll see another, let me say, a drop down for create, where now we can create the various storage services we want. Maybe if you want a blob storage, a table storage, a queue storage, you can have them there. Okay, so our deployment is complete, and then now we can go to resource. So you can see under our resource we have upload, and we have these other options, but now we'll focus on upload to see how we can upload files in your cloud platform using the storage account we've just created. So maybe I can, okay, you can see also here there is select an existing container, where I was talking about containers can help us maybe in managing our services in the cloud. So let me browse for files, just maybe upload an image there. So I've selected the image, and then under blob type, we have the block blob, page blob, and append blob. But now I'm just going to use block blob because it's just an image. And so they're going to put for you default things that are going to fit for you. If you want to change, you can change it there. You can also see port, because maybe my file is something that I'm going to be accessing most of the time. And then we have the various details there. So, okay. I think upload. Maybe let me create a container. Maybe let's call it new. I've created that container. And so, yes, when when uploading a file or whatever you're uploading to the cloud, you have to select a container. So initially I didn't have, and as I scroll down, you could see the upload is not working. So if you don't have any containers, you can create one and then upload. So what we've done, we've uploaded a file under the storage account that we created. So I can go to overview that's already selected. You can see the services there: properties, blob service, file service, queue service, table service there. Yes. So I think that's all for the demonstration. You can go through other components or services using the account you have. Oh, and by the way, okay, we're going to go through that as we end. the Azure accounts. Okay, so we can continue from where we left. So we have identity, access, and security. So these are services in Azure that help us to secure our storage, our management services that we are using. Yes. So for security, we have something called Microsoft Entra ID. That is a directory service. Okay, and if you've heard of Azure Directory, AD, that is now the new, this Microsoft Entra ID is the new name for Azure Active Directory. So yes, so it's a directory service that enables to sign in and access cloud applications that you develop. So it has that extra security service that you require a sign in, you require maybe a password to access the resources you have. Okay. So these scenarios are just areas that you can relate to. If you have an Outlook account, you need to sign in. You need to verify that you are who you say you are. And also for Microsoft 365, even Azure, when you access the platform, you require sign-in details. So that's it for, that's a scenario you can use to understand Microsoft Entra ID. And then for the users, they have IT administrators, app developers. For app developers, maybe they want to have a security feature in their application, so they can use Microsoft Entra ID in their applications. And we also have developers, more or less the same as app developers. And then we have the users who is required to sign in and verify themselves, and online service subscribers like Microsoft 365, they're using the Microsoft Entra ID for the security service. So we have something called the zero trust in Azure, which it explains that we don't trust anyone in the service. So maybe if I say I'm Lillian in the platform, I require other steps to verify that I am actually Lillian. So you can't just access things by just putting on your email like that, and boom, you're done with maybe accessing whatever you wanted to access. I'll give an example of maybe Google. When you want to add a new account in your device, Google has that zero trust where you put in your details and then it sends you a link again on your phone to verify that actually, yes, it's me who was signing in to the account in another device. So that's an example I can give of zero trust. And then we have Microsoft Defender for Cloud, which now is a tool that helps to maybe all those resources you have in the cloud. It now gives us an analysis of the security of the resources. If there's any issue, maybe someone tried to log into, you can also host websites on Azure. So in websites, that website that you've uploaded in Azure, maybe someone was signing in a number of times, or there was something to deal with security. Microsoft Defender comes in to alert you of all of that. So yes, that's all about security. If you have something to add on it, you can add. Maybe if you have questions, you can also go through that. Yes, I'll also demonstrate on security for some minutes. Okay, so does anyone have a question on security as I'm going through the features that I was talking about? Okay, we'll go through it again. We'll go through the services in the platform now. So I'm going back to home. Let me start from where I was. So we have Microsoft Defender. Okay, also it's not all of these things. You can search them there if maybe you don't have the time to navigate because you have these small services there. Okay, yes. So let's go through Microsoft Defender. We have the overview and all of these features there. The attack path analysis, security alerts. This one is for if there's anyone who is signing into your website without maybe authentication or something is going on. Yeah, it alerts you. Yes. So this is an analysis of the cloud platform. Maybe if you have the resources there, it gives you a preview of the security there. So I'm just scrolling around to see maybe the features that we can talk about, but that's basically it. So the for secure score, the more the secure points are, or the percentage, the more secure your platform is. Yes, that
Does
is.
it give you recommendations for secure score? Let's say you have
Okay,
20% security. Okay.
Oh, okay. So let me go to security alerts for that.
Okay.
So we have sample alerts. These are just to maybe to see how the alerts work. So I'm trying to create an alert, see if it's going to recommend for us actions that we can take. Okay, so we have the yes, we have the alerts that I've created there. So it has the like the level in which it's going to affect the resources. The alert name also is there. Affected resources is written over there, and resource group, which resource group is affected, the activity start time, and this one is don't really know this. And then we have the status if the alert is if the issue is still in action. So yes, for recommendation, I'm not seeing it here. So if you've ever encountered a recommendation under security in Azure, you can tell us. Okay, as we end the session. Has anyone during your interaction with Azure, have you experienced an issue in which it recommends for you actions that you can take to mitigate that issue? Okay. Okay, I think I'm going to research on that and say it in the group. But for now, I'm not seeing any recommendation. Okay. So that was the presentation for security, and the path ended at that, security in Azure. So I think that's it for the question on maybe if it recommends the how to mitigate the issues. I'm going to research and post it in the group so that you can know if we have also that feature in Azure. So
Okay.
anyone has a okay. Does anyone have a question, something to contribute, or any comments as we close the session?
Mine. Just just to appreciate the fact that you've taken your time to take us through Microsoft Azure. We really appreciate you've really done a good job. Yeah. And would you briefly talk about the Azure certification? If we have we probably have discounts as students, or maybe we could get it for free. For example, the fundamentals part, especially. Yeah, if you could just go through the certification exam, how we can be able to book it, and if we have any credits for that. Yeah.
Okay. For the exam, students are offered it's called discount for examinations, and for the vouchers. Okay, now we have the study group where the facilitators said they were working towards providing a number of students vouchers. So they've said it's not all of us that are going to get the vouchers. Maybe there is going to be a selection process in receiving the vouchers. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah, so I'm going to send a link on the certifications in Microsoft. And the link that I've sent, the form that I've sent is for signing up and registering if you've not yet done so to join the study group. The study group is all about sharing what we've learned when going through the paths, the resources that we are going through. You see, maybe in like this session, we've gone through a number of things. Some have added some content, some have asked questions. So that's all about the study group.
Is it a WhatsApp
So
group or Teams group?
it's a
Microsoft Teams.
WhatsApp group.
Okay, okay.
It's a WhatsApp group. Yes, in the form, the link is indicated there.
Okay.
On top.
Yeah. Also,
okay, so, okay,
yeah,
you can
just go
continue.
ahead. Yeah, I also had another question. As a student, student ambassador. Sorry, as a student ambassador, do you get like free credits or maybe a limited number of credits in your Microsoft Azure? Like, for instance, when you want to provision resources, or yours is unlimited?
Okay, for Microsoft student ambassadors, they get credits that are monthly. They are $150 per month, so we can access any resources, anything we want to create, as long as it fits the bracket of $150 in a month. So that is the benefit of being a Microsoft student ambassador.
Is there like an application process for it?
Oh yes, there's an application process.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the website, you search Microsoft students. Let me check the link. You go to the browser and search maybe a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador application, and then you'll get a whole process there. They usually take in people after 3 months of applying. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, once you've done the process of applying, you'll get now an email telling you if you've been selected, or yes, if there's any issue. I'm sending those links right now for application and for. Okay, so does anyone have another question? Okay, so the link that I've set, okay, it's coming. So the link that I've sent right now is for applying to become an ambassador. I also have a YouTube video on that, on applying to become a Microsoft student ambassador.
Okay. Yeah, thanks a lot, Lillian. Anyone can apply. Is there like specific requirements needed?
Yes, as long as you are 16 plus of age and you're in an institution, maybe you're doing your master's, your degree, as long as you're in an institution, you can apply to become an ambassador. Yes, it
Okay.
doesn't have a lot of requirements.
Okay. Thanks a lot. That was very informative. I hope we will have such sessions. It's my first time, but looking forward for the next session.
Okay, thank you. For the other links, okay, the WhatsApp group is important because it's where we communicate and send the links and the recordings of what we've gone through. So you can just register and join the WhatsApp group. The link is in the form. So if you don't have, okay, how do you get it?
That one is going to take us some time to get into the group because you you guys or the admins have to go through the WhatsApp numbers as well. Ama?
Oh yes, but it doesn't take a lot of time because there's a way put we've put the okay, there is a link. So when you just click it, you can just join the WhatsApp group directly. But then some of maybe the attendees didn't see the link, so we have another way we can just add them to the group. It doesn't take a lot.
Oh, okay. It's because I haven't seen the link, but I have registered. It's Forms, Microsoft Forms. I mean, is it
Yes,
Google Form or Micro? Yeah. So
yes,
I've
Microsoft.
registered. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
How do you get to have an advantage over the rest when you apply for the MLSA?
Oh, now, okay, like in applying how you can now fit to be accepted,
Yeah, exactly.
something like that. Okay. So in applying, you'll see specific questions. Maybe they'll tell you connect. That's like a subtopic. Connect. How do you connect with other people so that they can maybe join technological clubs, something like that. So you'll say a description of maybe one time you are connected to this and this person so that you can grow in maybe your tech field, and through that maybe you gained a skill maybe of uploading a website, this and this. So when I'm accepted to become an ambassador, that kind of flow. So you say an experience and then you put up how you can use that experience when you are selected to become an ambassador. And also there's the issue of maybe being more, there's a sector where you're going to upload a video to explain a specific topic. So that also is another thing they are going to look at. Also your social media accounts. Are you in GitHub? Are you in Instagram? Are you in Twitter? Just having an account is an advantage because there are some people who don't upload their social media accounts. So you can check on that. I'm going to send the link to the YouTube video that I was talking about, where you can know how to apply and have an advantage over others. So yes, I'm going to share all those links. The link that I've sent right now is for the WhatsApp group, so you can just join the WhatsApp group directly. I think it has reflected on your side. So I think that's all for now. I hope I've answered your questions well and we've interacted well. For me, I've enjoyed the session, very informative. I've also learned new things from you guys. So yes, thank you for joining and for contributing and asking questions. Yes, if you have not joined the WhatsApp group, you can join it using the link I've provided right now. You can leave at your own leisure. Thank you for joining.